My name is Patrysha with a Y, and this is video 9 in my personal 30-day video challenge in honor of Family Violence Awareness Month. I'm also using this as a lead up to the launch of my latest podcast, Triumphant Tales. And the purpose behind Triumphant Tales is simply to be an informative and educational, a podcast full of hope and healing for survivors of family violence. And I am cheating again today. I am wearing the same outfit that you might recognize from yesterday's recording, and actually the recordings of days 6 through 8 as well. And I'm doing it today because I want to get ahead of the real day 9 activities, where I'll be hosting back-to-back video interviews for the upcoming Triumphant Tales. I've got Master Motivator Kate McKay and Marty Board lined up for interviews tomorrow for the eventual podcast Triumphant Tales, and so that's why I'm trying to get ahead of the 30-day video challenge and recording this today. So in the meantime, in this video, I'll be sharing 3 questions a supporter might feel like asking a victim, but they really aren't good ideas. They are more, they have the potential to do more harm to survivors than actually helping them. And one of those questions is, what did you do to set him off? Many survivors face this question from well-meaning, well-intentioned supporters, but it's a harmful question. And the reasons why it's harmful is because it puts the onus for the abuse on the victim. And in these cases, the victim is already feeling as if they deserve it in a lot of cases. And the truth of the matter is that no matter what the answer might be this time to what set them off, it really doesn't matter in the long run, because even if the victim avoids that specific trigger, from now until the end of forevermore, the abuser will come up with another excuse to abuse, because that's what they do. It's not about what the victim does or doesn't do. It's about the abuser's need to use power and control in the relationship and to use that fear to harm the victim. And by asking what set them off, you're going to make the victim feel like there may have been a way to stop it. And there's not. There's no way to stop it outside of intensive therapy to control those abusive tendencies. And that requires realizing that it is abusive and being willing to go through the process of healing that an abuser has to go through in order to be able to stop. So that question is more harmful than helpful. Why don't you just leave is another harmful question that seems like a simple solution on the surface. But as a supporter, you may be doing more harm than good by asking this particular question, because leaving will be one of the most dangerous things the victim ever does. You know, even if they're living in that abusive situation, it's still very dangerous to leave. And no supporter should suggest a victim leave without a well thought out safety plan in place. Unless, of course, there's an immediate and imminent danger. I mean, obviously you get out of danger, but if it's not an immediate danger, the best thing to do is make a plan to get out, and to do that with the help and support of professionals. And, that is why the headlines so often read, "Killed by her estranged husband." Separation spurs violence, so you want to make sure that you have professionals on your side, even if she's not going or he's not going to professionals to get help. Try and get them as much information about solid escape planning that you can get into their hands, because being fully aware of the potential danger and the consequences can help prevent further crimes and victimization. Another common question, the last one: why don't you get over it and find a new man? And this is a question survivors face, of course, after the fact, after they've gotten out of the toxic relationship, and they hear it from well-intentioned family members, co-workers, and friends once that toxic relationship is shed. But it's really important not to push a survivor into a post-toxic relationship before they are really able to, especially if she has not been through counseling and support systems and support groups to get over that toxic relationship, to start dealing with the issues that got her there in the first place. Not that it's her fault, but there can be behaviors that were conducive to that behavior. You've probably heard of out of the frying pan into the fire stories from survivors who got out from one abusive relationship to find themselves very quickly in another, sometimes more violent than the first one. And these women aren't stupid. They're vulnerable, especially in that time in between. And so pushing them into a relationship before they've developed a deep love for themselves, until they understand that they don't have to accept that behavior, and they have an ability to set boundaries and stand for their own space. If they don't have that before getting into the next relationship, it's putting them at risk. So asking, "Why don't you find a real man?" and so on is actually more harmful than helpful if they need help into feeling like a whole person. So everyone can be a whole person on their own, and it's important to support that. So those are the 3 questions that you might be tempted to ask as a supporter that you really need to think about and wonder where you're coming from, because these ones really should be avoided in most circumstances. My name is Patricia with the Y, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode and that you're going to subscribe right now to the rest of the series as I continue on over the next 22 days. And I hope you'll share this challenge as I continue on my mission to end family violence through education, empowerment, and entrepreneurship. Until next time, again, I'm Patricia with the Y.